Two of the new data controllers that we included with the software, or some of the premier controllers, I would better said, are the Google Sheets and the Google Slides integration. A few of our graphics families are actually going to include controllers that play pretty nicely with these. So for example, if you want to use something to use for your slides controller, we can then, or for your Google Slides, we can use Ceramic Slideshow. This will allow us to pretty much embed our slideshow within this image frame of the graphic. So if you ever want to build a slideshow graphic, simply all you would need to do is build out a graphic that has an image variable, and we can see that later in the designer with a quick run through of how to enable those different variables. But for this particular example, simply what we can do is access the data controllers, navigate to the productivity category, then go to Google, navigate to slides. We will see then it'll open a separate window under the layer properties as a third tab in this particular scenario as the Google Slides controller. And you will see that in mine, I've already signed into the Google Slides controller itself, but what you will get if you're doing this for the first time is simply a little login window for any Google account that you might have on your machine or that you don't. Simply, it's just the username field, password, and then you will be greeted by another screen that tells you to pretty much grant Google permissions to then access your drive. After you've granted those permissions, you will then see this interface here. If you desire to use this as an external browser source within the network, so for example, if you have another operator in your local area network that isn't on the same machine as you are, you can simply hand them off this URL or open in your other browser if you want to, and then you pretty much get access to that controller to then operate remotely within the same network. But moving on to the actual controller itself, we can see here that since it's connected to my Google Drive, it has detected two different presentations that are saved onto my Google Drive. This Tyler Live 5 slide deck and another just pretty basic slide deck example, but we'll use this nicer of the two examples. We will then navigate to the Tyler Live 5 presentation that lives on our Google Drive. So we will see immediately here a quick preview of every single slide that exists in that particular presentation. We can then, by clicking on any of these slides here, cue that graphic, then it'll play automatically once it's done caching. We can then either hit the play next button here to play the next graphic from our presentation, or click any other slide in case we want to skip or navigate back to then cue any other slide from our presentation to then play that out as a graphic. If I want to then end my presentation, simply I can go to the final graphic or the final slide, and then hitting the play next button will dismiss both the slide and the graphic. So it's a pretty clean out for your entire presentation once you're done with that particular portion of the production, if you do decide to incorporate this into your broadcast.